My name is David D. Schein. I'm an author. I'm also a professor at the Cameron School of Business, University of St. Thomas. And I have written a variety of articles, but I've written a book called The Decline of America, 100 Years of Leadership Failures. This is a quick shot of the book. And I wrote the book because I felt that there is a need for us to approach the leadership of America in a different way and to point out some of the things that we've done right over the last 100 years and some of the things that we've done wrong, and to try and come up with some solutions to make sure the next 100 years is even better than it has been.
So, Dr. Schein, you're a professor, right?
Yes.
And so what you've done basically is what you would do with your students, and you've graded the presidents based on their performance.
That is correct, and nobody got an A, and in fact only one president barely got a B, and that was Harry Truman got a B minus. He was the highest grade in the book.
So in addition to being an author and a professor, you're also a consultant for small businesses, is that correct?
That is correct. I do try and help businesses primarily with employment-related matters. I've been doing that for over 40 years and focus on legal compliance and also practical compliance.
So we're in the midst of the coronavirus here in the United States, in the world, and you have written an article for small businesses during this time. So tell us about the article and some of the points you've made in there for small businesses.
Right. The starting point for any business is generally to have a solid policy. And while most businesses have a sick leave policy, and if they're larger businesses, 50 or more employees, they're required to have coverage under the Family and Medical Leave Act and to comply with that, which provides up to 12 weeks in most states of unpaid leave. In some states it is required to be paid. The issue tends to be whether the business is set up specifically to deal with the unique issues around the coronavirus. The coronavirus is a highly contagious form of flu, or as people call it, the coronavirus. It seems to have a fatal effect on people with compromised immune systems. It is something that they are beginning to discover that a lot of people are carriers, that they are positive for it, but are not showing any symptoms or very mild symptoms. But because of the rapid spread throughout the whole world over the last 3 months, there's a great deal of concern. Here in the United States, we've had major closings of schools, restaurants, virtually every conference, every concert, every theater event through about the end of May has been canceled as a result of this serious situation. One of the questions that I'm answering for small businesses is, what do we do with our employees? So the first step is the policy that I've drafted. We're making that available free to our clients and to others that ask, that provides just a basic 6-step policy for dealing with coronavirus on a day-to-day basis. That does not specifically help each individual business determine how to adjust for staffing. So some of the questions that have come across, what to me was a fairly unique question, an air conditioning contractor, they send air conditioning technicians out to people's homes to adjust and clean the heaters, clean the air conditioners. And to me, this is not something that would be something that would transmit a coronavirus. People are certainly generally not very close to their air conditioning technician. They let them into their house, they run up into the attic or outside, make the adjustments, do the cleaning and leave. Oftentimes today, the billing is handled individually by the office, usually by getting credit card by phone. So these folks are not interacting very much at all. However, a number of households have canceled the meetings with their air conditioning technicians, saying that they're just afraid to have anybody come in their house. So in speaking with this small business, about 20 employees, the question became, how do you go about reducing your workforce? And there's a couple practical solutions. One of them is to lay off the most junior employees until you adjust your staffing to the right number of technicians and office staff. That is a fairly harsh solution. The people laid off are eligible for unemployment. They also are eligible for reemployment if the company recovers, and certainly we expect companies to recover hopefully as early as the end of the second quarter of this year. We're hoping this is not going to continue beyond that. Now there's some nuances to this that make it a more interesting situation. Suppose that you have some people who are not the junior employees in your business but are underperforming. This does present an opportunity to do a layoff based on performance, where you select people not by seniority but based on their performance, and to basically clean house at this time. And again, I know that doesn't sound like a very kind thing to do, but the practical matter is a business has people who are not getting the job done. They are not contributing to the overall success of the business, and so this may be the right time to let go people who are not the better performers. Now, as an alternative to layoffs, say that you have a great group of people, you want to try and see if you can avoid having the impact of the layoffs. One of the things that's been done by a variety of businesses is to have a work sharing situation. So if everybody's working 40 hours a week, maybe everybody agrees to work 30 hours a week for the next month, so that everybody basically shares the pain, but they continue their health insurance and other benefits, and they continue to come to work on a reasonable basis. If you've got a small office staff, maybe you go to, and by the way, this agreement is usually referred to as a partial furlough agreement, so people may come in different days of the week so that you don't have a full staff every day, to try and make the workload balance out. And that is generally considered a kinder but short-term solution. For the business, it still means the overhead of the business remains fairly constant, but still a little bit less than if everybody was working 40 hours a week. This morning on the news, I heard that one organization is cutting salaries across the board 10%. This is something that is undertaken by various businesses in times of economic hardship. Again, compared to being laid off, most people would agree that while a 10% pay cut is a difficult thing to tolerate, it certainly would be preferable to looking for a job during this very difficult time.
So thank you, Dr. Schein. Now, if someone listening would like to have you come speak to their organization, are you available?
Absolutely, and despite the limitations on travel, I'll go pretty much anywhere that I can get. Domestic travel has not been restricted yet, and of course anything in the greater Houston area is certainly fair game, and other places will certainly be happy to talk about it.
So other than your book, what other topics would you talk about if you came to an organization's meeting?
Well, one of the areas that I have been asked to do, I do speak for a number of national organizations. Of course, a lot of these meetings are on hiatus or canceled or postponed, but a number of industry groups have meetings, and I am a frequent guest to talk about current employment topics. One of the popular themes, I do a presentation called The Top 10 Employment Concerns Today, or the 10 Hottest Things in Employment. And so we talk about the issues that employers need to worry about. Obviously, right now, coronavirus would be number one, but there are a lot of other issues that employers need to deal with. Another issue that is very hot is whether someone is actually an employee or an independent contractor. And so employers need to be very careful to make sure if they call someone an independent contractor that they really are. The consequences of misclassifying a person as an employee versus an independent contractor could be very significant.
So how would someone get in touch with you?
The easiest way to do it is to go to our website, World Wide Web, ClaremontManagementGroup.com.
Thank you, Dr. Schein.